Hi everybody, welcome once again for a short discussion on a poem. Today I'm going to discuss a poem by William Wordsworth. The topic of the poem is She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways. This is labeled as a Lucy poem. He wrote some poems dedicating these poems to a girl called Lucy, a very young, beautiful girl called Lucy. And one of those poems is She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways. We are going to discuss it now. Let me share the screen and continue the discussion. I hope you can see the screen now. She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways by William Wordsworth. This British poet is very popular. He's popular as a romantic poet. He lived in between 1770 and 1850. You can just imagine the time. Now we are discussing his poem in 2024. He lived in the time years between 1770 and 1850. And his genre or the movement is called romantic movement. In other words, we can consider it as romantic school of thought. And he wrote many poems. Today we are discussing this Lucy poem. Let's go into details. The poem begins like this. This is the first stanza. She dwelt among the untrodden ways, beside the springs of doubt, a maid whom there were none to praise, and very few to love. He introduces the girl, she. Actually, she means Lucy here. And first line says, she dwelt among the untrodden ways. She lived in a place where there were no other people walking, or kind of untouched place. And this place is near the Dow River, beside the springs of Dow. Actually, it's the springs of Dow, where virgin water of Dow is coming from the earth. You can now visualize a beautiful scenery in your mind where a river is started. Usually, it's a hilly area where there is water, jungle, and this kind of a mental picture may be created in your mind right now. And that mental picture is very, very important for us to continue the discussion. And this Dow River is one of the famous rivers in UK. And in the third and fourth lines, he continues the idea. A maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. He talks about the girl and tells she's a maid, unspoiled girl, a girl who was not praised by other people. In other words, who was not loved by other people. A maid, unspoiled girl. In other words, we can say a virgin, whom there were none to praise and very few to love. There were no people to love, but she was so beautiful. The idea is not over. It is continued in the second stanza also. Let's go there. A violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. Now only he keeps a full stop. And he further describes about the girl. He takes a metaphor, a violet by a mossy stone. I think you know, violet flowers are tiny flowers. They grow in marshy lands near waterways. A violet flower, violet by a mossy stone. Hope you understand the word mossy. And the moss is this, the green growth on trees and stones, especially near waterways. And this is a violet flower. He takes a violet flower to describe the girl, a violet by a mossy stone. And this violet is also not seen by other people, half hidden from the eye. It is there, but people cannot notice at once. Only when you go and see it closer, you can see this flower. Like the girl, beautiful girl, lived beside the springs or down, and there were none to praise and very few to love. So this metaphor is describing further the beauty and the background of the girl. In the third line, he takes a simile, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. This simile he takes. Earlier metaphor he took from the earth, from the ground. Now he takes a simile from the sky, fair as a sky, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. You know, when there are so many stars in the sky, we can't specifically admire one. But when there's only one shining, we notice, we see the beauty of that star. And he takes this simile from the sky, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. So it's beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. He takes a metaphor from the ground or the earth and a simile from the sky. For him, the whole world is this girl now. When he's thinking about the girl, when he looks at the ground, when he looks at the floor or the earth, he sees a violet flower. When he looks at the sky, he sees a star. So we can understand how important the girl had been to the poet. And we'll continue. She lived unknown, and very few could know when Lucy ceased to be. But she's in a grave, and oh, the difference to me. Here also he tells the story about this girl who is now dead. And because of the nature of the poem, we can call it as an elegy. Elegies are written for dead people. He uses the word, she lived unknown. When she was living, she lived unknown. People did not notice, and very few could know when Lucy ceased to be. Actually, she is now in her grave, but she is in her grave now. And oh, the difference to me. With an exclamation mark, he ends the poem. This suggests how hard this feeling is for the poet. How hard this emotion is for the poet. when he says, and oh, the difference to me. That ends the poem, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read the poem once again or recite the poem so that you can enjoy it. She dwelt among the untrodden ways beside the springs of Dow, a maid whom there were none to praise and very few to love. A violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star, when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be, but she's in a grave, and oh, the difference to me. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed the poem.